Hey everybody, Michael Sweet of Striper here, and you are watching CMS TV.
Compromise in art is weak. I think if you have this opinion, if I have this idea and you have this idea and they're completely opposites, you have to fight for the death to get that your idea and win me over. If you don't, my idea, I know, and I'll stand by it, is the best thing to do. So sometimes in those, I wouldn't say battles, in that tension comes the best artwork, the best art, the best creativity. And with that, sometimes there's a guitar thrown or a microphone thrown, or I constantly, headphones get thrown off.
Chris Aiken Presents. I, of course, am Chris Aiken, and today on the show, I continue my tour of the legends of hardcore. Last week, it was two different guys from Agnostic Front. Now it comes one of the original guys, one of the main guys, a third legend of hardcore from the band Biohazard, Mr. Billy Graziadei. Billy, how are you, man?
I'm good, Chris. How you doing?
I'm good, man. It's great to talk to you. And goddamn, it seems like it has been a long time of waiting, man. Now we finally have Divided We Fall, man. It's been a long time waiting for Biohazard. So welcome back, I guess.
Yeah, dude. I just posted today the first record in 13 years. And I like 13 years. Holy shit. That's like a baby to a teenager.
Right.
So, yeah, I was active, though. I kept making music with PowerFlo and Billy Bio. So to be back with the guys though and doing Biohazard again and with a kick-ass, with a great record, I'm really psyched. So happy to be about it.
And it is a great record, man. I don't think anybody that has ever been a fan of your band could not like this. It hits all of the hot buttons that you like of Biohazard, but it covers a little bit of new range and ground as well, which I do want to ask you about that. I want to start there. The thing that I like is that you've kind of modernized the sound just a little. Like, it still has all the edges and all the brutality and stuff that has always been Biohazard. Maybe it's just a production thing, or maybe it's that you guys are writing a little different together. But I'll let you tell me, do you hear a change? And if so, what do you think it is?
So I wouldn't say it's a change. What I stumbled upon with our producer, Matt Hyde, was this. He took me aside and he said, listen, I'm a big fan of what you do with PowerFlo and Billy Bio. Love it. Would love to produce you. That's a different conversation. And he also told me, which is pretty cool, he produced and recorded the first Cypress Hill demos.
Okay.
Back in the day. And we had those. That's how we found out about them. They were going around in the underground. We got a copy. And so that's how we knew about Cypress Hill before the record came out. Anyways, so he said that to me and I was like, yeah. And he goes, but I don't need you to be Billy Biohazard 2023. I need you to be Billy Biohazard 1993. He said, all that stuff you learned over the years, and I'm trying to keep it clean.
Sure.
But all those things that you learned over the years, brought you to where you are now. But I don't need that, dude. I need you bring it back to 1993. And at first I was like, I looked at it like it was an insult or a slap in the face. Like, what do you mean? I worked so hard. I'm a better singer. I'm a better songwriter, a better player, all around, just better version of myself from 1993. Why would I want to take a step backwards? And he said, it's not a step backwards, bro. He goes, that was when you created and released and wrote the best music of your career that mostly resonated with all your fans, because people fell in love with Biohazard. And he said, me included, because he came from that era. He said, and those records, Urban Discipline, State of War, The Dress, Mataleao, goes, bring me back there. He goes, it's easy. Just unlearn everything you learned. And I was like, that's real hard to do. I'm like, I'm trying to keep it clean, dude. You're right.
I swear, dude, it's fine. It's okay. I got guys.
It's okay. I got kids, so I'm used to trying to keep it clean. So what I did was I learned how to do, I do vocal warm-ups. I, studied with teachers just to try to preserve my voice in the way I sing. and all these techniques from practicing guitar and all these things back in the early 90s. I didn't know any of that stuff. So I didn't do warm-ups. I didn't do vocal warm-ups. I didn't do guitar warm-ups. I went in like a kid in 1993 and just approached it that way. I probably destroyed my voice. I did destroy my voice. I had to go to a therapist, and I couldn't sing. But what ended up coming out was the best Billy Biohazard for me, the best Bobby, the best Evan, the best Danny, because we took that approach with everything. And Matt, I owe a lot to Matt for that. And that was part of the reason why the record Divided We Fall came out the way it did.
Right. How difficult was it? And I know you guys have been touring for a couple of years now back. It's not like you just got back together and jumped in, but how different was it when you got original lineup back together? And what I mean by that is, like you mentioned yourself, you've done PowerFlo, you've certainly done Billy Bio, which is all you, and it's all your ideas. So to go from a world where you've kind of built that, where you are the mastermind, to go back to other guys having input, and I don't like this, and maybe they don't like that. Was that a difficult transition, or was it kind of the old fits like a glove thing where it just felt like it did back in the day?
I mean, a little bit of both. It was like, putting on an old pair of jeans or putting on your old Doc Martens that are perfectly broken in, because that's how we always worked. But I also having the experience, which helped me let go of that. Like when Matt said that to me, I know I get it, and I picked it up quick. So I knew coming back into the band that I had to take that role on as the singer and the guitar player. And letting Matt take the reins was also great. I love that. Like with PowerFlo and Billy Bio, I produce everything. So I'm there, concentrating and focusing on these minute details of the technology and the technical aspects of a recording and the songs as a songwriter and as a producer and a member of the band. So it was great to be able to just remove myself and be Billy Biohazard kind of in 1993.
Sure.
And with Matt driving. So that was cool. I would say so. It was a little bit of both. That having the experience to know to step back, having the memory of how we work as a band. And the other thing is, even though we were on tour for a couple of years, playing all those classic Biohazard songs, that energy was flowing through our veins like 24/7. So another reason why we were in that mind frame of the early 90s with Divided We Fall in the studio. We went back the same way, recording live in a room, all that noise and monstrous volume just blasting in our ears. It's everything about Biohazard. That's how we did all those classic records. Bands get away from that, and they, the guitar player records in North Carolina, and the bass player records in Seattle, and the drummers in Chicago. So we were all in the same room, and I think another reason why it came out the way it did. But although it's all been great vibes with the band, we are very strong-minded and strong-willed dudes. And I'm probably the worst because I know what I want and I have a reason for what I want. And I'm very good at articulating those reasons. So sometimes with any creative group, sometimes other people will come up with ideas just because you had an idea and they want to just, I got me too. We call it the me too.
Sure.
But with Biohazard, it's not about compromise. We don't compromise. Compromise in art is weak. Mm-hmm. I think if you have this opinion, if I have this idea and you have this idea and they're completely opposites, you have to fight for the death to get your idea and win me over.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, my idea, I know, and I'll stand by it, is the best thing to do. So sometimes in those, I would say battles, and that tension comes the best artwork, the best art, the best creativity. And with that, sometimes there's a guitar thrown or a microphone thrown, or I constantly, headphones get thrown off.
Sure.
But you come up with a record with like Divided We Fall that slays. Sorry, I'm cursed there. That slays, and I'm proud and respectful of the process, and love how we made it through that with a shining record.
Sure. This episode of the CMS Network is brought to you by our sponsor, Blackout Coffee. If you are a coffee lover, you will love what they are selling over at Blackout Coffee. Make sure you get yourself some. The only thing woke about this company is the drinker of the coffee, because it gives you quite a jolt. I am a personal fan of the Brutal Awakening Dark Roast, but everybody's a little bit different. Make sure you get what is your favorite today. Go to blackoutcoffee.com. Use the promo code CHRIA20 to save 20% on your first order. It's that simple. So one more time, blackoutcoffee.com. That is the link, or use the full link if you're going to shop around. That is scrolling on the bottom, and get yourself some of the best coffee that is out there today. blackoutcoffee.com.
The ultimate hub for metal talk is classicmetalshow.locals.com. Get free episodes, social commentary, and VIP exclusive content. It's our online home. That's classicmetalshow.locals.com.
Was there anybody of outside of you, of the other three guys, that maybe, I don't want to say struggled, because that's probably the wrong word, but was not engaged right away? You know, like, and I'm going to throw Evan out there just because I know he wasn't doing this kind of music for a while. So to come back to it, I imagine was not as easy as just strap it on and go. I imagine it took a minute to get started again. And where you guys are so intense, I don't imagine anybody eases into anything in your band. It's all or nothing. Was there any of that where it was a little tough to kind of find the focus again?
I honestly would say no. And Evan, yes, he did delve into different things in here and there, but he's a metalhead to the heart, you know? He turned me on to The Ripper by Judas Priest. He turned me on to early, like, hidden gems of Motorhead and all these awesome metal bands. In exchange, I turned him on to a lot of punk rock and hardcore, but that was in the early days. So I think also being on tour and playing those classic Biohazard songs, bro, we were right there. It's like being in 1992, 93, even though we're a little older and more experienced, we felt like we were that old.
Right.
And, you know, in the humor and the jokes, we were back east, and it was when the drones were flying overhead in the winter. Nobody knew what was going on. It was last year, and I filmed it all, sending it to my friends and put it on social media. So that chaotic environment was same chaos that we lived in 1992 during, you know, Urban Discipline era. So there was nobody left out trying to knock on the door saying, hey, I'm here, let me in. We were all on the same page. And another reason why I think Divide We Fall came out the way it did.
Well, dude, if you're bringing the energy of 1994, I tell people this all the time. One of the absolute number one or two shows I ever saw in my life was you guys with Sepultura and Pantera. And I mean, that was just a murder fest. And if you're bringing that kind of energy, I don't know if I could handle it now, because, you know, I'm old now. I don't think I can get in that pit like I used to.
Hey, man, you know, you go from the pit to the back of the pit,
right,
to a chair, but you still release that energy. You still enjoy it. And you kind of step aside and let the younger kids, you know, do the headbanging and
the heavy lifting, more or less, right?
And it's all good. It's all great. Because the cool thing about it is that's our subculture. That's our sacred place. And the difference between the younger kids and us that have been around for a bit is, there's not much difference. It's just, it's age and experience. But the similarity is we both fell in love with the underground subculture. When we were young, we felt like we were an outsider, an outcast. We didn't belong. And then we realized we were just hanging out with people that we just didn't click with. You find the subculture scene, whether that's hardcore punk rock or metal, it's you feel like there's an overwhelming welcomeness. You feel like you belong for the first time in life, and suddenly you're sold for life. That's your sanctity, and that's your escape from the pressures of the outside world. So for us, you know, we've known that. We've been getting the same high off of that, going to see shows, and you know, for for decades, and younger kids who are just experiencing for the first time, they're going to be around for decades. So it's a high five moment for, welcoming and having the family grow bigger, I guess.
Right. Definitely is, man. Well, dude, let's dig into the record a little bit. Let's I try to always start with what I'm liking the most, and this one is easy to me. Eyes on Six by a lot. Such a great tune. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that song?
So Eyes on Six, every song I've ever written is like a baby. You create something out of nothing, and it becomes something so close and personal and special. And then when that resonates with other people, it's awesome. It's great. But if it doesn't, you create. So to talk about specific songs, and people say sometimes, and maybe you won't ask me, but they say, what's your favorite song? They're all my favorites. Eyes on Six is a killer song. It sums up the kind of like how I grew up and how we all grew up, with having a lot of people kind of doubt you. And, I remember Rick Rubin called us a 3-chord thrash band that'll never go anywhere. And then he sent somebody as CBGBs to try to sign us. And when I asked the dude, why are you here? What are you interested in the band for? He was from Chrysalis Records. And the guy said, you guys are killing it. We really want to sit down and talk to you. I'm like, but who sent you? You're not from the scene. Right. And he's like, Rick Rubin. I said, oh, Rick Rubin, really? And I gave him his card back. And I said, yeah, tell Rick Rubin we're a 3-chord thrash band that'll never go anywhere. They go fuck himself. That you can
I'll
edit.
Leave that in.
Or leave that in. Because that's a true story in CBGBs. So that having that challenge, because it wasn't a problem. I look at things, and I learned this not recently, but it wasn't like this when I was younger. I figured out what I was doing when I was older, but when I was younger, I didn't look at things as problems. They were always a challenge. And that mindset made me capable of overcoming that challenge. It's like getting a challenge on the street and some dude wants to box you. If you just, freak out because there's an obstacle in front of you and you run away, eventually you don't get anywhere. Right. You have to face those challenges head on. And that's what I did. So Eyes on Six is about that, and how, growing up where you have to always watch your back makes you a stronger person. It makes you, able to deal with things. It's not just in a tough guy kind of way, but in a more aware, kind of strong, soulful kind of way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Definitely, man. Dude, how much is, and I do not want to turn this into a political thing. I don't, and I'm sure you don't want to either. But how much of the climate that we're in now makes it the right time for your band to come out? Because clearly we need some musical leaders to bring us to identify problems, but also to bring us back to some unity. Because there's no unity anywhere but in the music world. If you're a Biohazard fan, you're still a Biohazard fan, no matter if you vote left, right, libertarian, whatever. You're a Biohazard fan. It does bring unity, and obviously your message has always been strengthen unity. But we are in maybe the worst time in our entire lives, both of us. How important was where we are today for your decision, the band's decision, to come back with recorded music?
So we've always been a product of our environment, and sure, all of our lyrics, all of our music, everything we've released has been a product of that influence. Divided We Fall, you're right. It is more timely now that there is no unity and there's such division, and it could be anything. It could be the things you mentioned, but even being vegan and carnivore, like there's so, and Catholic and Jewish, there's so much stuff. It was kind of like that a long time ago. And when I realized being on tour and playing all those classic songs for the past couple of years, that our music is as timely and relevant now that it was then. We just, with Divided We Fall, we sing about things that I think resonate with not just ourselves, but will resonate with new people who don't know Biohazard. In the same way it resonated with you back in the day when you got turned on to us at the Pantera Sepultura show.
Sure.
So I think the other deeper meaning is being back together. There's a twist on that. We're stronger together than we are separately. I mean, even though I have PowerFlo and Billy Bio, which I love, being in Biohazard, it's a different thing. It's part of who I am. It's in my DNA for so long. I can't deny it. That's why I went with the name Billy Bio. I was going to call it Generation Z. I was going to call it Generation Kill, all these other names I had. And I was like, you know what? This is who I am. Let me embrace it, because there's songs in there that were going to be Biohazard songs with Billy Bio that there was no Biohazard. So they became Billy Bio songs. But back to Biohazard, I think we don't pull any punches. We speak how it is. But unification and unity is always been, in survival, has been an underlying theme for us. And this record is a huge statement saying, especially with Divided We Fall is a line from Fuck the System.
Mm-hmm.
It's a title. I had to say it.
Yeah, it's fine.
So I suggested, I'm like, let's call the song Divided We Fall. And we ended up not doing it, but it stuck perfect and seemed to summarize everything on the record and the times. Like State of World Address did, like Urban Discipline did. Mm-hmm. We remember making, the first record we released, self-titled. We left New York and we realized it wasn't just New York that was messed up. I was going to say effed up, but it was Chicago. We saw similar things in Detroit and Seattle and LA and Dallas, all these cities around the country. We came home and released Urban Discipline. That was our cry, and what we've learned, and how we realized it wasn't just New York that was affecting us. It was city life in general, that urban life. Then on that record, we toured so much and came back realizing that it wasn't just the cities in America, it was the world and cities all over the world. So State of the World Address was a reflection of that experience. Divided We Fall is a direct mirror of what we've seen collectively, not just in the past couple of years since we began to been together, because I'm always writing. We're always creating stuff. It's how we've seen things have gone over the past 10 years, the past decade. And people who are going to pick up this record might have been 10 years old, 8 years old, when Biohazard stopped doing anything. So it's almost like we're the same microscope, we're the same telescope that we were back then, and we're just looking through it with a little bit more educated eyes.
Sure.
We're not so quick to form judgment or to judge, and we can see things a little bit bigger. Sometimes when you look at things very focused, you kind of miss out on everything around it, and you kind of back up to take a bird's eye view. You see the bigger picture. And our earlier records, it was more narrow, but we're a little bit older and wiser. We see the big picture, and Divided We Fall kind of sums that up.
Hey, it's Chris Aiken from the Classic Metal Show, Chris Aiken Presents, and the Seth Williams Show, straight from the uncensored heart of the CMS network. We've just been crowned a certified Rumble creator, and that means we're bringing the heat. All our shows, commercial-free, baby. Advanced episode drops, sometimes months before the normal release, so you're not stuck waiting. You'll get all this plus exclusive content for Rumble Premium subscribers that'll blow your mind. And with Rumble Premium, you'll get every CMS Network show and all of Rumble's other videos with no ads and no fluff. This is our official home, Rumble. It's raw, powerful, and unfiltered. You want in? Just hit us up at rumble.com/register/classic metal show to sign up for free commenting, chat live, and just your ability to join the chaos of all of our shows. Then while you're there, swing by any of our videos, smash that Rumble Premium button, and level up. Subscribe now. Don't sleep on this. Hit the link in the description.
Get ready. The Classic Metal Show is live every Saturday from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern. It's always uncensored. Watch on CMS TV, Rumble, Odyssey, or X.
Let me devil's advocate that for a second.
Sure.
When you're more open, and I do agree with you, you can look as simple as most of us had no idea about any politics when we were in our 20s. Now we know every stupid vote that happens and whatnot there. But I think we're more consumed by it now, where we where we had such a narrow focus when we were younger that it was easier to have that focus because you also had this and this and this things that you cared about, where now it's so encompassing, it's hard not to get depressed. Do you find yourself bringing more of the world into your life, which ends up in the music, than you did at the beginning when you had a narrower focus?
I think this sums that up. That's a great point and question. I remember bumping into Ozzy. We had toured with him a couple times. We were on a flight layover through Heathrow Airport. Ozzy was doing the same thing. We ran into him and he said, "Biohazard, what are you guys doing here?" Oh, and we exchanged little pleasantries and we talked about what we were doing. But then he interrupted and said, "Did you hear about that poor boy from Nirvana?" We said, "What? No, what?" "Oh, you didn't hear. Poor chap offed himself last night." And we're like, "What?" We were so shocked.
Right.
And then he continued to talk about his daughter. Isn't it a shame that he left his daughter without a father? He was more concerned about that. We were shocked. And we didn't have kids at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I remembered walking away. The takeaway was he talked more about the daughter that he left and the fact that this dude committed suicide. And it struck me hard. It was a big impact. When we started, our concern was the audience, the world, and the people that live, not just people that come and see us play, or the scene, but in general, the population, humanity. And we sang a lot about that and carried it close to our heart. But I'll tell you this, bro. When I became a father, I understood what Ozzy meant about that.
Right.
And if I cared, and I did care so much about humanity and the world before I had children, but being a father, I care way more, because now it's not just my friends and family, but it's my children, my offspring that are going to have to live in the world. So even more so do I want to try to make this world a better place for them, in addition to the rest of the humanity that I also love. So it hits home. So, how can you be your age and still screaming and yelling about things with so much passion? That's the effing reason right there.
No, I agree. And I've got kids, so I firmly get it, man.
Really? Yeah.
Every decision, your first thought is always, how are my kids going to deal with this? It's not, I'm 57. I'm not going to be 100, so I'm sliding down the backside, and I know I may not see the effects of some of this stuff, but my kids sure will. And it makes you even more mad when you see something very obvious, right?
And think about, now we're on that subject, divided we fall. If you strip away all the BS, and I won't say what that stands for, I'm respecting your editing.
Yeah, you are.
if you strip all that CR8 crap, can I say crap?
Yeah.
Out of the way, you're stripped down to the basic things. We all get up. We all have to deal with the issues we deal with. We have to go to work. We have to put food on the table. We have to put food on our own table or somebody else's or our table or whatever we have. It's the same. And I don't care if you're Catholic or Muslim or whatever, black or white or green. It's all the same. And so divided we fall kind of gets rid, it's a call out to that realization that we're all the same. Don't worry about the small semantics of who you voted for or what you kind of eat or what God you pray to or don't pray to. Things like that. Just remembering that changes the perspective a lot.
Right. Definitely does. Well, dude, obviously with the new record, and we'll wrap up here, but you're on tour now, which to me, tour of the year, bringing you and Onyx back, Judgment Night tour, all of a sudden. I love that. But talk a little bit about this tour as well as tour plans for 2026, which is when I imagine you're really gonna hit hard.
Yeah, it's awesome. We were on tour in Europe and in Dublin, I think, or Belfast. We walk off stage for a second just to towel off, get some water, and towards the end of the set, and Onyx guys roll up. Nice. Fredro and Sticky. Yo, Biohazard! What's up? Blah, blah, blah. Let's jam. Let's do a song. And we're like, since we did those songs with them, I always wanted to play again. We did one show together to do the video for Shades of Grey, and we did it for Slam. and never played again. They showed up with bulletproof vests. They were so afraid of our New York crowd, which they had no reason because everybody welcomed them.
Sure.
And we did the song and they split. They didn't hang. But so we were like, what do you want? How are we going to do this? We don't know. We never did this before. We didn't practice anything. They're like, just figure it out. Wing it as we're walking on stage. So we just went through it and it came off great. Kids, the audience, a lot of people videotaped it. It was online instantly. And the next day I'm like, I seen all these comments and I'm like, that'd be cool. Let's try to do a tour together. And we finally made it happen. So it's great to be out with those guys. We do have a lot. We're actually talking about, I was on the phone this morning. We have a lot of great things for 2026 that we can't wait to share. Just can't let the cat out of the hat right now. Yeah.
It's going to be a great year. 2026 is going to be a great year. If you're a Biohazard fan, there's going to be lots of opportunity to see the band, I'm assuming. And, but until we get those tour dates, you've got a lot to listen to because Divided We Fall is excellent. It is out there for you to give a listen to. And Billy, this has been fun, man. Thanks for joining me here on Chris Akin Presents.
Chris, thank you very much. Peace, respect.